This full moon, this July, you're really being called to honor and trust the divine reordering that's been occurring in your life, to really start tuning to your feelings so that you can discern what feels right and what no longer feels right, and that you can create new stories and new experiences that are in greater alignment with who you are and who you're becoming. Welcome to the collective frequency upgrade for July. So there's so much going on, and I imagine, just in the collective, in just human consciousness right now, as I say, there is this divine reordering, and I doubt that if you're watching this that you have been immune to this. So, really invite you at the moment to acknowledge what's been happening in your life, to just allow yourself to feel everything, to feel it all. It could be that you're having experiences that are causing a lot of grief or even a lot of anger, and they're kind of emotions that we tend to avoid. So really at this point of the year, it's our darkest time of the year. It's our internal time for us here in the Southern Hemisphere. Cancer season has that real internal kind of retreat into our shell kind of energy when we're feeling all the feels that the watery elements of Cancer feel, and also in Chinese medicine, winter is that time of the water element as well. And it can be related to our emotions and to our fears. So let's come back to what I was saying there before, is that it's really important that we feel all of our feels, all of our emotions. Every single feeling is valid, and it's calling for your attention at the moment. Some things simply need to be felt to be released. So going back to that thing of maybe grief or rage, whatever, anger, don't resist it. If you're resisting that, you're actually resisting an experience that the universe has gifted you with. And we may not really, with our human mind perception, see it as a gift, but there is some blessing in there for you on a soul level to integrate. So if you're resisting feeling it, it's the cliche, it's going to get tucked away somewhere in the body, and it might manifest later as a sore back or a sore neck or a heart attack or cancer. So now is the time, actually, in consciousness, we're all being really called to allow these things to pass through us, to be released. And the only way that we can do that is to actually feel them. So don't resist any of it. Like I say, if there's grief, just trust that the universe is really providing you with a pathway out of this grief. But you need to feel it first. And look, I just want to say a little point on grief. Grief, we will never actually let go of our grief. Often we build our life around grief. So just keep that in mind if you are experiencing grief. And a lot of people are at the moment, because our lives are literally in such upheaval, and we're really being called to see these old identities and masks that we've been wearing for the world that have kept our authentic self hidden, and we've done this as a way of playing safe, of protecting ourselves. It can be vulnerable to be authentic and to speak up when something's happening to you, to set boundaries, whatever that is. It can be really vulnerable, and it might not have been safe or felt safe for you when you were 2, 3, 4 years old and you created these kind of beliefs, because it might have meant speaking up was literally, it felt like it could have been abandonment, and it very well could have been, because as a 2, 3, 4-year-old, you couldn't support yourself, so you relied on family, and often that meant you played a game within those family dynamics. You wore a mask, you put on an identity to please others, to keep the peace, to not deal with conflict. So it's time now, in this adult phase of self, for those of us who are here, we are really being called on a collective level to shift this in the consciousness, to actually start being true to our authentic self, to really start owning our feelings, setting boundaries around those feelings, honoring our needs, nurturing them ourselves, but also, giving ourselves permission to ask for what we need, rather than just play small or be the one supporting everybody else. It's time to actually create greater balance in consciousness of giving and receiving, masculine and feminine. You know, we've had this fall of the masculine, you know, that top-down power, the hierarchical system. And look, to be honest, where all this is going is in 2027, according to human design, we have a massive shift taking place. It's the beginning of a new 400-year cycle called the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And effectively, the phase that we're in right now in this lead up to 2027 is our old systems are breaking down. We have been in the cross of planning for 400 years. So what the cross of planning is about is we have institutions, we have systems, we have corporations, we have this concept of the bargain. I do this for you and you do this for me. I turn up and work for you, you pay me a wage. I go to school and learn these things that the system teaches me, and that will, well, start me off in the system, good conditioning, and then basically, you know, set you up to move into the next corporation system, institution, sorry. So it's like, basically this is what's breaking down. When we move into this cross of the sleeping phoenix, and of course it's not just going to be an overnight shift, this is the breakdown we're seeing now. We're seeing the breakdown of where we've been in the bargain, where we've said, right, I'll do this for you, you do this for me. Or, you know, I'll play this role for you and you'll continue to support me, provide me with love, whatever that is. And we know, we are learning that this does not fulfill our heart. And as a soul, spirit being that is just inhabiting a human body in this lifetime, we know that there is actually so much more available to us. We don't want to just go and be on the grindstone working 9 to 5 just to make enough money to survive and then not actually really truly be living. So as we're moving into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, these systems are breaking down. So banking, our politics, you know, the corporations. We saw that in the big change a few years ago when we started working from home more and people started realizing perhaps that they want a more work-life balance and flexibility. And effectively what we're moving into with the cross of the sleeping phoenix is it's our individual, authentic, unique, beautiful self that needs to shine its light to the world. And that is how we support our abundance. That is how we align with our tribe. That is how we can live our life and thrive. So at this time, as I say, we are here in Cancer season. And Cancer really is about safety and security, and it's about nourishment, and it's about home, and it's about nurturing others as well and supporting others. So, you know, it's kind of like you might want to consider what nourishes you, what makes you feel safe. Consider that now. And then we have almost the polarity of that, which we have the Capricorn full moon. So we have this energy being highlighted in our emotional field, particularly, which is around responsibility and duty. And, you know, yeah, it is a lot about our work and how we show up. And I guess the key thing is, like, do we have balance in this? Do we have a balance in being out there externally in the world? You know, do we have the balance of responsibility and duty and doing our thing versus our internal environment, our home, our nourishing, nurturing space? Do we have balance in that? Do you have balance in that at this time? And as I said, winter time, according to Chinese medicine, is the time of the kidney. So it's that very yin time. Yet we also have the polarity within the kidneys as well. And kidney itself is also related to the adrenals. The adrenals sit on top of the kidneys. So we kind of had this yang potential. You know, we can get revved up because of our fears, go into survival mode. And it's about balance. So, you know, a little bit of fear is actually very supportive to us. It helps us perhaps stay safe in a very smart way. You know, it helps us create boundaries, or it helps us consider potential dangers and actually take steps to avoid them. But if we have too much of that adrenalized state, we go into survival mode and everything feels like a threat. And that simply drains our kidneys. It drains our whole life force. I mean, you could consider that our kidneys are related to our life force. And so this is where we need balance. And this is where we need to allow ourselves to feel. Because often when we're in survival mode, it's literally our body is taking over, our subconscious is taking over with some potential threat or the sense of some potential threat. Now, if you were honestly just to allow yourself to feel that, let's do that now, actually. I would like you to consider something that may have, look, you can choose, it doesn't have to be a fear, something that may have felt threatening to you recently. Maybe you had a situation with someone in your family, or a situation with someone at work, or in your home environment. And maybe that was simply because your needs weren't honored in some way, or you needed to speak up a little bit more and set a boundary about what your capacity was. Just feel into what your situation currently is. Just take a moment to do that and choose something that has felt uncomfortable for you, and ideally something that you've actually resisted. So we're going to take a moment. Okay, so if we actually just, I'll invite you via a Qigong method to place one hand over the other just beneath your belly button. And this here is known as our dantian. And our dantian is this place, it's a storehouse of our energy. So if we have very depleted energy, if our capacity is low, our sensitivity to our emotions will be heightened. However, if we feel grounded, if we have access to if we have good access to energy, if we have available energy to support our systems and support our kidneys, then we're not going to go into an overreactive kind of state. So simply, you could try simply this, placing one hand over the other at your dantian, feet roughly hip width apart. Relax the shoulders and the arms. And just tune in. You can even do this seated, by the way, but tune into your lower dantian. Take a few long, slow, deep breaths. And feel your feet connected to the earth. You might even like to imagine that the earth energy is journeying up through the base of your feet, up through your legs and up into this space beneath your hands. So just feeling how grounding this is, feeling how when you considered that heightened emotion, how this could support you to come back to a more calm and centered and grounded place. And then while you're in this calm and centered and grounded place with available energy, the life force is flowing through you, and you might even feel that through feeling more grounded and centered. I'd like you to just consider that situation that perhaps, might have created anger or tension, or you can still feel it in your body. And just take a moment to stay connected to the breath, but notice where in your body you are feeling energetically that tension. It could be a bit of a pain in the back of the shoulder. It could be, something here. It could be in your jaw. It could be in your throat, in your heart, in your belly. Wherever that sits, just notice the energy of it. Just take a moment to tune into the energy and just allow yourself to actually get a greater sense of that energy. So allow yourself not to resist that energy, but actually kind of move towards it and allow yourself to feel it fully, just as an energy. You don't even need to go into the emotion or the story around it, just simply feeling it as an energy. And just notice what's happening in your body. Is that energy shifting? So notice how sometimes all we simply have to do is allow it. I mean, for me, I did have something in the back of my shoulder there, and simply by being with it, it has moved through me. But if I was to continue to move through my day today, busy myself with this and that and distract myself with this and that, then I'm not going to actually allow myself to feel what that is, and it doesn't have an opportunity to pass through me. And then what happens is it knocks a little bit louder for my attention. It might turn into a full-blown arm pain, or my elbow seizes up. I don't know, but this is the opportunity, particularly if you notice physical pain in your body. I really invite you to actually like tend the pain, to really move towards the pain a little bit and notice the resistances you have there, but also use a tool like this, like simply standing with your feet firmly planted on the ground, inviting that earth energy into your dantian, really allowing your life force to be replenished, and then feel into that pain, be it energetics or be it physical pain, and notice where that life force goes. You know, that life force, we don't have to do it all on our own. And this is, I guess, another theme of this time of year. You know, we don't have to do it all on our own. We can invite, if we don't have trusted friends or family, or you're going through a big transition like so many people, where there's a big adjustment in who used to be aligned with you, that you used to share perhaps what you're journeying with, maybe they're not available, or they don't feel resonant so much to you anymore. And if that's the case, it's okay to feel lonely in that. It's okay to feel longing in that. But also we have this incredible life force available to us to invite into our body. And it may not be the same as having a good chat with a friend, but watch how it replenishes and enlivens you and uplifts you in a different way. It's really quite incredible. So I invite you to play with that. So I'm just going to use kinesiology to gain a little bit more of where we go from here, because remember, we are working with the collective consciousness. So I'm going to ask the collective what we need, what you need as an individual to support that collective shift. And okay, so here we are. So let's see what this beautiful book, I've used it before, Christine Berlant, The Key to Self-Liberation. It's actually a really interesting book. If it's, maybe you've like worked with Louise Hayes and who's the other one, Annette Noontool, and they actually talk about where different areas of pain or different like illnesses, diseases, that kind of thing, what the potential emotional characteristics could be of them. And I mean, that's not so much the important thing right now, although I'm curious to have a look. I will have a look. But the important thing is there's these beautiful affirmations. It's lower back, which is interesting because we're talking about the kidneys and we're talking about that sense of grounding and allowing ourselves to feel. And we're talking about working with the lower dantian to really like replenish the energy in our body. So this is potential for psychological correspondence to lower back energy. But we're just going to take it as a general in the collective right now. Maybe it relates to your lower back. Maybe it's just simply about a grounding or this energy that we have about that balance of yin and yang right now. So don't be afraid any longer. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt your worth. Let powerful energies flow through freely. Don't block your self-realizations. Flexibly deal with your emotions. Know yourself to be safe and protected in your deepest self. Feel this primal, strong basis. Say goodbye to the old. Resolutely build a new life in full self-trust. Be proud of your unique being. Develop your possibilities. Don't let yourself be intimidated by others. Believe in living self and make use of the possibility of self-creating your experience. Your happiness and your safety don't depend on factors from the outer world. Be faithful to your nature and dare to be yourself without hesitation. Care for yourself. Don't always ask another, but listen to your inner voice. Wow. I mean, I say wow because that's kind of just everything I said in the intro, and I hadn't even read that before. So I find it fascinating. Again, the beauty of kinesiology, but what it highlights to me is that we must trust that this is the energy that we need to call in at the moment. As we're heading towards 2027, it is truly time to embrace your unique self. And remember, in the feeling of everything, you're releasing some of the old, but you're also feeling into what is brewing for you now. Like, you know, you might need to let go of some old identities, some old masks, but for you to be your authentic self, well, what does that look like? You know, what do you need to feel around that? Like, what does that feel like? If you felt liberated and free and really enlivened, showing your truth, your magnificence to the world, what does that feel like? And what does that look like? Like, this is the time as we're in this deep winter, like we've just passed through solstice for us here in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's that darkest time of the year. It's a time to celebrate that we survived this dark time. It's a time to acknowledge that we are starting to move towards the light again. The days already are starting to get longer, and it's time at the moment though to still be in a bit of stillness, but dreaming into our possibilities when that time for movement comes. So if you're being true to your authentic self, what does that look like? Feel into that, you know, journal around that, tune into your higher self around that. And if you feel remorse, grief, whatever other feelings come up while you're doing this, feel them all. Remember, balance of yin and yang, we need it all. And trust in that divine reordering, trust in your process right now, even if it's been really uncomfortable, as it has for so many people. It's been a massive time of upheaval. So, I mean, I send you so much love for that. And I really hope that you can tune into the divine and that divine energy around that. So, all right, so I'm going to bring in an acupoint for you to also use. And so let me find that here. We're going to work with the spleen meridian. So it's at spleen number 3, and I'm going to use magical technology and place it up on my video here. So spleen 3, you'll see, actually is on the inside of the foot, and it's 3 acupoints along from the inner edge of the big toe. So as you can see in the graphic here. So I invite you, if you're not driving, to take a moment to hold this point. Okay, so to hold this point and just let my words wash through you. So this is related to this point. So this energy release point addresses the condition of the life stream in embodiment. Now, according to my other book there, it says that it tonifies the entire physical body. And I guess in that way, it means it makes the available energy, it uplifts your available energy. So it's kind of like what we're doing with our Dantian. We're inviting that life force in. This particular point just really helps, as it says, address the condition of the life stream in embodiment. So really to infuse that life force, allow that life force to flow through you once again. It is to be fully grounded with the spirit, fully in the body, so that actions taken and visions manifested come from a center of self-love, self-respect, self-honor, self-nourishment and nurturance, purity and humility. These conditions are of the highest impeccability, integrity and discernment. So in this way, one can love, respect, honor, nourish and nurture themselves, humanity and the earth. So I love that. Once again, you know, it aligns with this thing of putting your needs first, of allowing yourself to nurture, to nourish, and this is the way forward. Do this so that then you can support everyone else. Don't be there giving your energy away, depleting it through playing these roles that are actually not fulfilling your life or your life purpose. So, let me just see what else it says here. So it allows for the firm planting of steady feet walking the path. So it helps to ground us. It helps fulfill purpose, I just kind of said that, and destiny through connection to one's true essence. Beautiful. So it really allows you to tap into that life force, to tap into your spirit, to tap into the connection to the divine. I love this. What a beautiful point. So to give you one more thing to take with you is a little affirmation. And I really invite you to perhaps say this a few times each morning, each night, throughout the day if you need to. During those times, perhaps when you have a little interaction where you need to be clear on your boundaries or assert your boundaries or your needs somewhere, if you have an interaction where that isn't honoured, or basically you'll know these times when you need it. But I really invite you to work with this over this coming month. Start with the day, then do it for a week, then do it for a couple of weeks, just baby steps here. But really to tune in to feel this. And the affirmation is, I choose what nourishes me. I choose what nourishes me. You know what? I just feel called to hold my dantian to say that, to really allow that life force in from outside of me. I'm choosing that as a force of nourishment. It might not be available in other ways for you, as I say, but you can still choose in each moment to allow the nourishment of the earth to come up your legs and into your belly. And simply say, I choose what nourishes me. So wishing you so many blessings at this full moon. And really, I just invite you to feel. Just allow it all. Don't allow the judgments in. Just allow yourself to feel. Because we're highlighting this Capricornian influence, feel into those duties, those responsibilities that you might have felt obliged to in the past. And just really notice, is that what feels nourishing for you now? Is that the pattern you want to break? Is where those obligations come in? And how can you really honor more of your truth, your uniqueness, and be your authentic self? Set those boundaries where you need to, speak up about your needs, gently, of course, and kindly, and with compassion and love for everyone. But first and foremost, show that compassion and love to yourself. And really set the tone for how others can treat you. So choose what nourishes you. Go gently, feel, and just allow it. Wishing you so many blessings.